Eric, exciting season two. How exciting are you and to see it actually finally going up on a Prime?
It's amazing. Like I started working on it 4 years ago. Like what happened? Oh, COVID. So I'm very excited that it's going up. Where are you? Where's that roof?
Oh, this is actually my backyard. It's a Filipino hut in my backyard in
Oh,
LA.
wow. Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like,
I should pretend I was in the tropics, but
yeah, I was
anyways,
about to say, are you in Fiji? What's going on? Like, can we just do the interview there is what I was going to ask. But
we should, especially you guys shot in the Czech Republic, right?
yeah, amazing place to film. I highly recommend it.
Mm. Now tell me about season two, from season one. What will people be excited about season two? Especially, is it something that's going to be a little bit darker? Or the viewers, what can they expect?
I think they can expect that every one of their favorite characters is going to have a juicy storyline that makes that character shine. We spent a lot of time making that come to pass. It's a twisty, turny roller coaster ride of a story. You don't know what's going to come next. It's got fantasy elements, it's got romantic elements, it's got action, it's got politics, it's got intrigue, it's got a lot of different elements working for it, but it's all organized around a central principle or a controlling idea for the screenwriting nerds who know what that means. The idea of uh, organizing the story around the question of, are we defined by our DNA, or are we defined by what we do in life, how we make choices or take action? And the question of what defines us, as we're living through a period of time where folks are dividing themselves up in different groups, different tribes of all sorts of different kinds of forces of division, as the Carnival Row world did in its parable within the fantasy world. We started to explore the question of, well, how do you stand up to social injustice from one group against another? What's the best way to take it on? Is it to fight back with love or fight back with hate? Is it better to try to change the world from within the system, or is it better to take up arms and take to the streets? These are all the kinds of questions that the different characters of season two are going to explore with different answers to that same kind of organized question.
Right, definitely. You're looking at Imogen and Imogen's character and her brother and her love, and then you got Caroline and Artie. Um, just to see all those differences, do you feel like it comes to the point of like, wow, people can take this into the real world and connect with it to their own lives?
Well, that's the hope, right? Like when you're a writer, genre is a tool. Genre is like, especially great fantasy or science fiction has always traditionally been a parable for real life. That's science fiction at its best, or fantasy at its best. And you want it to be resonant and meaningful to the reader or to the viewer, and make sure that you're saying something meaningful. So um, the writers and I started in that place and say, well, we're about to go spend a whole bunch of Uncle Jeff's money. We better have something to say with it, that makes sense and put something positive out in the world. So let's make sure that let's make sure that we're starting there. And then whether I'm doing a Marvel comic book hero show or I'm doing a big lush fantasy epic that is on the scale of Carnival Row, it always starts with that question of, why are we telling this story? And then the writers and I looking around at each other and saying, if we're going to spend months and years of our life telling this story, is it something that we're going to feel good about when we get to the end, and that we actually put something out into the world that means something to viewers and to people, that they can say, oh, I never thought about it that way. Something that's resonant for their real life.
Right. And then for you, especially going into 4 years of up and down and coronavirus and all that crazy stuff, what were the challenges that you guys overcame? Especially trying to keep keep everything into perspective of the show itself.
Sure. Well, I mean, it was a gigantic logistical challenge. At one point, the crew was 1,500 people, and keeping them safe and healthy during a pandemic was first and foremost on the minds of Legendary and Amazon, and that was a huge challenge. It introduced a whole new COVID crew into production that we had not had previous to that moment. It also shut us down in the middle. We had to pause production for a year. We were in the middle of filming. That was a big deal, we had to adjust the storylines. It was the fact that any television show ever makes it to air is always a miracle to me because of all the moving parts. But when you get to the end and it's all stitched together by this A team of fantastic craftspeople and an amazing cast, but also everyone on the crew. Some of them are like Oscar nominees and Emmy winner. It was just A-listers all top to bottom. Everybody stepped up.